All right, welcome everyone to a new YouTube video, and you may hear the background. I'm gonna move in just a second over there, but in today's video I want to be talking about how to generate 1 million in cash as an online coach. What I've been able to create myself too, wealth-wise. Kind of the principles that I abide to, and if you follow the same principles, how you can do this too. So just gonna give you also a quick tour, in my new place. So as you can see, just gonna do like a 360. I like the pool right here. So very big place, but mainly again what I want to talk about is exactly how to generate 1 million in cash, and really talk about some of the things that a lot of people not really talk about. You see crypto, NFTs and all these things come by like very often, but when it comes down to like actually keeping cash and stacking that, you don't hear a lot, right? So today I want to cover 5 points that I abide to that have really helped me generate my wealth. And the first point is, quite an obvious one, but also a big one, and that is taxes, right? So I just moved to Portugal. That's also why I'm in this new place right here. And in Portugal, I'm paying like 10% in taxes. And in the Netherlands, I'd be paying 50% in taxes, right? And so let's say you make 1 million in profit a year. You'd have to now pay 50% of your profits. And of course, there may be some tax benefits depending upon the country you're in. But what will most likely happen is that half of your income is gone after you pay your taxes. And so now in Portugal, we're paying 10%. And so let's say we, profit 1 million a year, for example, we keep 900K off that, right? And so especially when you want to scale a business, you need cash, right? You need cash flow, and also make sure that you're keeping it. So the first one I want to cover is taxes. It's pretty obvious, but it's a big one. And so you have to really think about what kind of season you're in as an entrepreneur, and if you actually want to stack your money, or you're fine with paying for the quality of life there. But again, you have to really determine what kind of season you're in. And so for me, I really want to build generational wealth. I want to spend the next 3 to 4 years here, stacking up my bank account to 10, 20 million in cash. And I'll cover my view on cash here in a bit. Because, I know a lot of people say man, get into real estate, get in crypto, inflation this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm and this is my view, guys. Feel free to leave yours in the comments. It's well, if I get a real estate property, it produces the same thing. It's just cash in the bank account. So why am I buying a property just to make some cash? Why am I paying 500K, even if I'm leveraging other people's money to just get some cash flow over 30-year or 20-year span? You're gonna be able to do a lot more with 10 million when you're 20 to 30 years old versus having 10 to 20 million when you're 50 to 60, 70 years old. Your quality of life really diminishes as you get older, right? And I mean, it's not to generalize everyone. I know people that are 50, 60 and are living as if they're 20. But that's kind of my point. I want to be able to build that wealth in a shorter time span, and not making a quick buck. I really want to build real organizations, and the cash flow is a nice byproduct of it. But back to my point, right? If you want to stack wealth and cash, then you need to really make sure that your tax situation is in order. So what we have here in Portugal, it's called a non-habitual residency. We are actually, living here. So it doesn't mean we're not non-habitants, but we do live here. So with that, we even get a bigger tax benefit with that. So that's number one, right? So that's point one, taxes. You have to kind of determine what season you're in. And then with that, be okay with moving to somewhere for a while. Portugal has an amazing quality of life too, and I'm a 2-hour flight away from home. And so I feel I'm not really missing out on anything, right? So that is really the first point. And I made some notes here of other points I wanted to cover. And so the second point that I want to cover is it's about what you keep and not what you make, right? I know a lot of people in my industry, I'm not going to mention any names, but what I see happen quite often is that they'll make a lot of money, 1 or 2 million in a year, probably profit half of that, but then they also spend all of that on just materialistic stuff or big mastermind investments. And I'm a person that's invested over $500,000 or $1 million into himself now. But again, you have to also know when you can and when you can invest. You have to take taxes into account, profitability, payroll, and then really look at what you're keeping and not just what you're making. Because yes, you can make 200K a month, but you can also spend 200K in a month, and then with that be really left with nothing, right? So with that being said, that's kind of the second point. You really want to make sure you have a good overview of your numbers And with that good overview, making sure you're keeping the majority of it. And then of course, that's why I cover taxes first, is that, you're also in a good tax situation, because yes, you can keep a lot and that's profit, right? Which is awesome. But then again, like if 50% or 40, 30% gets chopped off, that's a huge chunk of your cash. So with that being said, you want to make sure that you focus on that principle, really keeping the money. And this doesn't mean being scarce. It doesn't mean being greedy. It just means being smart with your money and finances so you can actually build that wealth, right? I've never shared this on social media, but I'll do it in this YouTube video because I think just a few hundred people will watch it anyway. We have 4 million liquid in our bank account. That's after taxes, right? And so the power and the freedom and the abundance that it gives you is really crazy, right? You can do things that a lot of people are not able to because of cash flow problems, not keeping what they're making, taxes and stuff like that. So you really got to determine, of course, for yourself, and it's different for everyone. What season are you in? Do you want to accumulate wealth? And if you do, then I would definitely suggest, if you do want to do that, to not get 50% of your income chopped off, because that's not going to help you with your goal. So it's really optimizing for your goal with taxes, if that is your goal, right? So again, that's why the video title is the way it is. But yeah, with that being said, that brings me to the third point, okay? And it actually ties back into what I said at point 1. It's to stop investing into stocks and crypto. I invested about $28,000 last year into crypto, and right now it's 14K, and that's fine because I just wanted to test it. And I'm just gonna keep for the long term anyway, for 5 years. That's how I see investing, and also why I put such a little amount into it. But when it comes down to stocks and crypto, it's not gonna make you a lot of money unless you spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on the right stock or the right coin, right, or the right project. But the likelihood too of that actually happening and making the gains you want, it's very unpredictable. So when I really take both vehicles into account of what can make you wealth, I'm it doesn't make sense to rely on something that you have no control over. So stop investing into stocks and crypto and just build a cash flow business. Right now, this month, we have cash flow $430,000. 60% of that is profit. And then with that, I pay 10% taxes. Now imagine that on a year-to-year basis, and the fact that I've got control over it and that it's very scalable, right? Then if you saw my last video, my plan to make 10 million in 2022, that's really how I plan on doing it, and also building more businesses. But with that being said, that's why I don't invest in stocks and crypto. I just build businesses. And I pretty much am getting into venture capital too, but mainly building out other businesses. And then also just, in the future, getting portfolio companies. But with that being said, guys, that's my big advice to you so far. So number 1, sort your tax situation. Make sure that that is good. Number 2, it's about what you keep and not what you make. So make sure you keep a lot, right? And again, there's a difference between keeping money to be scarce, greed, I guess, for the wrong reasons. But the only reason why I recommend it and why I do it is just to have that peace of mind, to have power, to have control, to have abundance, to have options. And in my opinion, there's nothing stronger than that, right? Ultimately, what do stocks and crypto do for you? They generate you cash, right? So I don't really see the point of pouring my money into real estate, crypto, stocks, into something that will make me the same outcome, or pretty much generate the same outcome. Because I'm sure I'm gonna get comments yeah, Bass, but look, you're trading your time for money, or it's passive income. And I'm kind of well, for me, I know I'm gonna generate at least X, Y, and Z per month, because we've been doing it for almost 2 years now. So there's no reason for me to go into stocks and crypto when I already have something that's working really well for me and could work for you very, very well too, right? So those are the first 3 points. The 4th point that I want to talk about is to live frugal and below your means, okay? And I see a lot of people make some money, and they immediately start getting into fancy apartments and fancy dinners and spend a lot of money, and by the time they're done, they're only left with a few $10,000 or a few $1,000s, right? I'll tell you the exact journey I went through. So in 2019, I lived in an apartment where I paid 1K euro per month, and I had 40K in my bank from October to January 1. Yeah, October 2019 to January 1, 2020. And then I moved to Serbia, Yeah, I moved to Serbia, then I upgraded my apartment to a 2.2k euro apartment. And then, you know, in 2020, by the end of that year, I had 250k cash in my bank. It's just because I like don't really spend it on other than just survival needs and just food. And, you know, sometimes we'll do like a nice fancy dinner here and there, but it's not like every week, you know. Again, I'm not saving money and like the type of guy to, you know, go with like the cheapest options just to simply save upon money. But it's like I really try to live frugally and below my means, so I can really make sure to hit my goal of accumulating all this wealth, and with it build generational wealth, take care of my family and all that good stuff, right? So that's my 4-point. Live frugal and below your means for a couple of years. And if you follow Sam Ovens, if you follow Alex Ramosi, they all say the same thing. And I'm glad like I've done this since day one. And really with that, like been able to accumulate the wealth that I've got today, right? So that's the 4-point. The 5th point is the following, right? So it's maintaining high profit margins with your online coaching business. And, you know, I've had months, you know, even this year, January, like 25-30% profit margin month. And that's okay, because, you know, my mistake was obviously the margin. And so when I like look back at my spendings, I just started to join way too many masterminds, and, you know, I started to like, you know, a lot of cash was going out, and I'm fine with that. You know, like I invested like over 100 grand in that month. But with that being said, like I really had to think about, okay, well, what's my goal here? And can I achieve it without like, you know, spending all this cash? And if the answer is yes, without being biased, then, you know, I'll just, you know, focus also on having a higher profit margin. And guys, like in this video, I'm purely sharing my view. Like I'm not trying to sound politically correct here or be like that typical value-based YouTube video guy. It's just like my view on money and, you know, what I would recommend. So for me, like if the margin is below 50-60%, and that's fine, you know, when you have like over 20 employees and you run ads here and there, and you know, you pay your employees pretty handsomely too, then that's totally fine. But if it's going to be anywhere below that, then I'll have to like look at, okay, what's the best solution? But, you know, so for me, like that's also a principle: maintain high profit margins, right? Like this is a cash flow business, but, you know, there's no point to it if like you're spending all the cash flow you're generating back into like monthly expenses just to make the same cash flow again, right? Like it doesn't make any sense. So that's like another principle that I abide to and really make sure to, you know, follow and focus on and implement and practice to accumulate the wealth. And then the last thing, which is like stacking money and cash, is it gives you peace of mind. It gives you power. You know, I know people that make a lot of money, but then they get hit with the tax bill and they're left with a few 10K. And so, and what I see happen is that they get very stressed out, like they get very scarce. They get into like decision makings they wouldn't if they would have like, you know, the capital that would give them peace of mind. And so this is more like a higher level conversation, but like even if you're a beginner, you know, watching this video, this will like, I would definitely save this video because it can like definitely serve you in the future. So those are the points that I wanted to hit, guys. So pretty much to like recap, taxes, you know, that's like definitely the biggest thing, and also why I covered it as the first point. Second, it's about what you keep, not what you make. 3, stop investing into stocks and crypto. 4, live frugal and below your means for a couple of years as you're stacking. 5, maintain high profit margins for your online coaching business. And 6, not really important, more like the reason why I personally do is like for peace of mind, abundance, and that's like the main thing. And so before I wrap up this video, I just wanted to like share one more view, and that view is like on real estate, stocks, crypto, right? Because man, I hear it so often, I feel like it's overhyped in a market, and I'm sure like it's good if you do it full time, don't get me wrong. But like at the same time, if you take into account, like let's say you'd be running 2 7-figure businesses, cash flowing you like, you know, multiple 6 figures a month, right? So take that perspective into account. That then people tell you like, stop like keeping your money in your bank. Grant Cardone is big on this. It's funny. Yeah, if I'd sit down with him, like it's 2 different minds, but he's amazing though. But yeah, so you know, like with real estate, let's say I pay 500K for a property, 100K down, 400K is leveraging other people's money. I net profit, let's say 2 to 3K per month from that. Like now I've like got to wait how many months? Let's say 50 months. So that's like about 4 or 5 years to recoup my investment as I'm also paying that loan back. And again, like your property also appreciates in value, right? So again, like let's say 1 or 2 years go by, it's increased 100, even 200K, right? Like let's over exaggerate a little. I mean, this market is actually pretty realistic of today, but let's say that happens, right? So I've waited 2 years to make 200K in profit, right? And then let's say like I pretty much made another 50 to 100K or something from like just the renting it out alone. So I made 300K in 2 years. That's 150K a year. That's 8.3K per month. We do that in 1 month in our coaching business instead of like waiting 4 to 5 years for that return, right? And I'm like, well, what's the point, right? So yeah, that's really it, guys. So just my very transparent view on like real estate investment, stocks, crypto, stuff like that. I'm sure I'll get into it later, but like for now, it just wouldn't make any sense because I get like so many questions on it. But so like, this is just my view. But yeah, with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to also like see a house tour, by the way, just let me know in the comments down below. And last thing before I jump off, we're going to be releasing a new program July 11th for 6-figure coaches. If you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can actually go to the link in the comments down below. It's called the Elite Waitlist. And yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap up the video right here. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.